Most people, particularly in the West, but actually not limited to, encounter the Kurdish movement through one of three lenses, it seems, still till this day. The brave fighters who beat ISIS, the geopolitical pawns caught between bigger powers, or the women with Kalashnikovs who make great magazine covers. None of these, of course, get to the substance of the matter. What do people most misunderstand about the Kurdish freedom movement?
Kurdish movement is embedded within the regional and international Kurdish question. It is one large actor that is very much embedded within societies across the region. And here we are at the core of the issue, actually. Most of the time, the Kurdish movements or mobilizations in Kurdistan are not only locked or narrowed down to what you said about, the securitization narrative of, a military armed organization fighting a nation state, or like, as you said, the female fighters who, resonated globally, but often in a quite superficial way because they were, portrayed with guns, women fighting patriarchy on the battlefield against ISIS, etc. But none of these frames about the Kurdish movement had an understanding of a long legacy of resistance in Kurdistan and a long legacy of resistance in the wider region that is not limited to the nation-state borders that we are dealing with. And I think one of the largest and one of the most misread situations, or let's say the lack of understanding Kurdish mobilization fully, is that not maybe those who research it, but the international and also the public oftentimes limits their analysis not only within the borders of the nation states Kurds inhabit, but also from a state-centered perspective. So they center the interest, the self-positionality, let's say, of Ankara, of Damascus, of Tehran, and Baghdad over what the society on the ground actually mobilizes for, and how they self-locate themselves in their imaginaries, in their practices, etc.